Hey, in legal documents, Facebook's mega corporate legal team just offered a revealing admission about those fact checks they use to silence people's posts and lock them out of their accounts. Now, well, shocker, they say they're just opinions. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. You know, Liberty backers and those who are critical of big government are acutely aware that Facebook restricts the reach of our posts for long stretches or labels them false and then memory holes them when its wonderful team of fact checkers claim that something isn't true. Some of us just grimace and bear it, trying to figure out ways to stay in touch with friends and then continue to get our posts seen despite Facebook's wizards of ugh telling us that our reach will be limited for stretches of time. And curiously, this just happened to me over the past 24 hours. And I'll be restricted even more than previously for the next 3 months, I think it is. But thanks to pro-liberty reporter John Stossel, who isn't sitting back and taking it, I just learned something striking about Facebook/Meta's view of its fact checks. In legal documents provided in a defamation suit brought by Mr. Stossel against Facebook/Meta, Meta's legal team openly claims that their so-called fact checks merely are, yeah, you got it, opinion. The American thinker's Thomas Lifson starts things off for us as we dive into this. And let's keep in mind the slippery way Meta already includes the word platform in its corporate name. Remember that. Quote, in a court filing responding to a lawsuit filed by John Stossel claiming that he was defamed by a fact check Facebook used to label a video by him as misleading, Meta's attorneys assert that the fact check was an opinion, not an actual check of facts and declaration of facts. Oh man, under libel law, opinions are protected from liability for libel. What a surprise! But this makes matters very complicated for Meta, and we'll explore exactly why in a moment. Right now, let's note that many fans of Mr. Stossel might be familiar with his excellent work. He has even created a video and instruction series called Stossel in the Classroom for Kids, which is excellent. And let's also assume that folks might have heard that Stossel was suing Facebook/Meta platforms for defamation. It's the details that Meta has released that hint at how politically driven the Meta gurus appear to be and how slippery their legal team seems to be as they try to wriggle out of what looks like a clear case of defamation by now claiming the opposite of what they have told us users for years. They always told us that they were fact-checking our posts on controversial topics. Well, Lifson refers readers to the well-known climate science writer Anthony Watts, who, of course, writes at What's Up With That. And Watts saliently points out that very key claim made by the Meta lawyers in their legal briefing. Quote, the labels themselves are neither false nor defamatory. To the contrary, they constitute protected opinion. And then Watts offers a longer passage from the Meta document. You'll note in the PDF from their legal filing, folks, it says, for another, Stossel's claims focus on the fact-check articles written by Climate Feedback, not the labels affixed through the Facebook platform. The labels themselves are neither false nor defamatory, as I mentioned before, is what they said. To the contrary, they constitute protected opinion. And even if Stossel could attribute Climate Feedback's separate web pages to Meta, the challenge statements on those pages are likewise neither false nor defamatory. Any of these failures would doom Stossel's complaint, but the combination makes any amendment futile. And Watts also offers what many of us might offer upon seeing this flagrantly obvious rhetorical chess move. Quote, so in a court of law, in a legal filing, Facebook admits that its fact checks are not really fact checks at all, but merely opinion assertions. end quote. But of course, that's not what they tell us. That's not what they told me when they non-personed me over the past 24 hours. No, in fact, FactBonk has long heralded its so-called fact-checker system, even as we users could see the leftist slant that indicated to us that there was something very fishy going on. They applauded themselves for employing groups like the Poynter Institute to put our posts under their so-called fact-check microscope. Yet, as John Stossel recently noted in one of his excellent videos on the subject, like all human organizations, Poynter's team has subjective people in it, and it doesn't exactly seem non-biased. Video from John Stossel spells this out.
To do the fact-checking, Facebook partners with groups like these, all of them approved by something called the Poynter Institute. It calls itself a global leader in journalism and claims it has
a commitment to nonpartisanship and fairness.
But they're hardly nonpartisan. Just look at their website. Their eagerness to honor left-leaning reporters and their push to decolonize the media and change language shows their leftist bias. Poynter once even apologized after it tried to blacklist conservative news sites.
Remember that? Corinne Weaver wrote about it for Newsbusters on May 2nd, 2019, including the fact that in that particular smear attack, Poynter utilized an asset at the ultra-left Southern Poverty Law Center to construct its unhinged narrative. Quote, Poynter, which has started the International Fact-Checking Network, shared the new report and dataset called Unnews, declaring at least 29 right-leaning news outlets and organizations to be, quote, unreliable news websites, end quote. Report author and SPLC producer Barrett Golding combined 5 major lists of websites marked unreliable. That result, which consisted of 515 names, included many prominent conservative sites: Breitbart, CNSnews.com, Daily Signal, Daily Wire, Drudge Report, Free Beacon, Judicial Watch, Life News, LifeSite News, LifeZette, Live Action News, the Media Research Center, PJ Media, Project Veritas, Red State, The Blaze, Twitchy, and the Washington Examiner. Ah, yes. Good times. Good times. An American Thinker listen notes this about the new revelation from Stossel's defamation suit against Meta. Quote, Meta's attorneys come from the white shoe law firm Wilmer, Cutler, Pickering, Hale, and Dorr, with over 1,000 attorneys and more than $1 billion a year in revenue. They obviously checked out the implications of the matter for Section 230 issues, the legal protection Facebook/Meta have from liability for what is posted on their site. But at a minimum, this is a public relations disaster, revealing that their fact checks are not factual at all and should be labeled as our opinion or some such language, avoiding the word fact. End quote. And this is where it gets a little complicated. By Section 230, lifts and means Title 47 of the U.S. Code, subsection 230 of the wonderful 1996 Communications Decency Act. Now, it's a little tricky here. This act allows a website carrying other people's posts to claim it is not a publisher but a platform, but not if it doesn't edit content. Many people mistakenly think that it can make the claim as long as it doesn't edit. But in fact, Section 230 allows for editing or so-called curating as long as it is done in good faith. And that's a term determined, of course, by our overlords in the federal government. So, if it remains listed as a platform, hence the addition of platform within Meta's snazzy corporate title, the feds in the 1996 law give the corporation protection against defamation suits over material posted by users. And the feds also allow the corporations to be mostly immune from state laws pertaining to pornography posted by users. That's quite a different matter. Now, Stossel's team may be able to pierce the federal protection given to so-called platforms by this unctuous Section 230. And Facebook certainly doesn't seem to be operating on good faith either. And on a larger point, I think it's important to note all of this Section 230 federal meddling stuff within the 1996 Communications Decency Act and the Act itself, even the FCC, actually run counter to the First Amendment, which gives the feds zero power over speech controls. So perhaps this suit will open a few eyes. John Stossel and his team are going after Facebook/Meta platforms for defamation. And many of us have experienced similar attacks when posting clearly factual information. Now, thanks to Stossel, in the legal response to his suit, Meta just showed the world that it isn't fact-checking at all. It's doing what we thought, engaging in opinion propaganda. Hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Remember, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll see you in the comment section. See you in the comment section on Rumble. And find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. And please visit MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.